Well, the latest news coming in from the Supreme Court, this is about the Adani stock row, and the Supreme Court has put out its orders. Now, the SEBI is all set to conclude the probe within the next 2 months. You'd remember there was a public interest litigation that was filed at the Supreme Court of India, and this report shall be filed to the Apex Court Committee. This report shall be in a sealed envelope within the next 2 months. You had the Solicitor General who himself appeared in the matter and assured the court that all sort of possible investigation shall be done in this matter. I want to cut across to our legal correspondent Ananya Bhatnagar, who is with us on the broadcast. Ananya, tell us what transpired in the court today.
Well, definitely the Supreme Court had to pronounce its judgment whether to constitute a committee or not. And in fact, the Supreme Court has given out its clear judgment wherein it says that a committee has been created by the topmost court of the country, which would be headed by former Judge A.S. Sapre and would also be comprising OP Bhatt, Justice J.P. Deodhar, Mr. K.V. Kamath, Somsekhar Sundaresan, is what the Supreme Court committee has been formed. In fact, it is also said that, this whole matter, this whole investigation has to be carried out within a period of, within a period of 2 months, and a report is to be filed by the committee in a sealed cover before this court in 2 months. So definitely the Supreme Court has also noted that the SEBI is also seized of this particular matter, and hence 2 months' time has been given to this particular committee to actually look into all of the aspects which were discussed into the petition. So we'll now have to wait and watch as to what the committee report has to say and what would the committee be saying when it concludes its probe into this particular case about...
Ananya, you're aware that this entire matter had taken deeply political overtones. You had the opposition parties raising multiple questions. So when this sort of committee has been formulated by the Supreme Court of India, how were the members nominated? And are there any other powers that have been granted to these committee members, like summoning people, recording their statements? Because all of that will be very critical in that sealed envelope report that will be submitted to the court.
Well, when this committee was actually being formulated and when this idea was actually being given out to the topmost of the country on the last date of hearing, when the Supreme Court had actually reserved this order, the court had rejected a submission by the central government that it would be giving out its suggestions with regards to the committee members in a sealed cover, and the Chief Judge has completely said that if at all it considers the sealed cover suggestion of, the central government, it would cast aspersions on the Supreme Court as to whether it is appointing a committee that would be a government-run committee, and that's the reason why the Supreme Court had said that nothing would be accepted in the sealed cover. And now, this whole committee has been formulated by the Chief Justice of India and the other judges on the bench, and now we'll have to wait for 2 months as to whether or when this committee will be giving out its report and what are the findings of this committee with regards to the various allegations that were there. In fact, I'll read down some portion of the judgment for you that it appears that the SEBI seized into the investigation, the allegations that have been made against the Adani group of companies. SEBI shall also investigate into whether there has been a violation of Section 19A, whether there
and all
was
those provisions of the
Security
and Exchange Bureau of India, the guidelines that they have laid down. The regulator is the SEBI, and they are going to decide whether there were large-scale violations that were done by a particular group, and you have none other than the Supreme Court of India, which is looking into that matter. My colleague Ananya Bhatnagar getting us all the details on that very important story.